Good evening, everyone, and welcome, Happy New Year, I should say, and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Penfield Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight's meeting is going to take place in two parts. First, we'll have our public hearings. We'll ask the applicant to come up to the podium and give us name and address, and then explain to the board why the relief requested should be granted. After the applicant is done, board members will likely have some questions. And then we'll invite anyone in the audience that cares to come up and speak about the application to do the same thing. Come on up, give us name and address, and then speak about the application. Once the public hearings are adjourned, we'll take a brief recess and we'll reconvene in the back of the room to deliberate on tonight's applications and to finish any business that the other business that the board may have. Members of the public are certainly welcome at both the public hearings and the deliberations. Although those deliberations are times reserved generally for discussion amongst board members with staff, and sometimes with council. The agenda tonight is actually shorter than it looks. We've had one matter, number 2, withdrawn, and 2 others adjourned. So we're actually down, I guess, to 4. We usually move pretty efficiently here. My point is that you can stay if you like. You don't have to once your application is done. If you'd like, you can call tomorrow and find out what action, if any, the board took on a particular item. I always point out that the town has a practice and a policy which I think is a good one, and that is to notify neighbors that are in the area of an application that the application is going to be heard. The town does this so that the neighbors are more fully informed of their right to come in and speak about the application if they choose to do that. And the town does it in various ways. It has the applicant put the sign out by the property. It sends postcards, posts the agendas on the internet, on the town website, and then does it, as I like to say, the old-fashioned way by posting the agenda on, I think we still do that, don't we, on bulletin boards? Okay. I would like tonight to welcome our new board member, Andres Sillens, down at the end here. Tonight's his first meeting. He's met us all, and despite that, he wants to stay, he says. We also have Nancy Shalacy, who is now starting to, with the board tonight as one of our clerks. So welcome to both of you. Hopefully you'll enjoy your experience. And with that being said, I'd ask everyone to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you very much. Harold, may we have the first application, please? Or maybe the first one not here yet?
I don't see him. Did you want me to announce it or wait till?
Oh, if you don't see him, then just go to the first one that's ready.
That would be application number 3 on the published agenda. And that is Paul Rosa, 830 Beach Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14612. Requests an area variance from Article 3-3-36-E and Article 3-3-37-A of the Code to allow an existing pool deck, a single-family residence, concrete patios with less setback at 1435 Shoecraft Road. The property is owned by the Rosa Group Family Limited Partnership and is zoned R-1-20. This is SBL number 109.07-1-13. This is application number 14Z-0003.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. I'm Bill Levinson. I'm a partner in the law firm of Cully Marks, Tannenbaum, and Pizzullo, and I'm here to represent the applicant, the Rosa Group Family Limited Partnership.
Hi, my name is Danny Lee, and I reside at 1435 Shoecraft Road.
Evening. I believe that most of the details regarding this situation are set forth in the application. At issue are 3 specific setback violations. One involves the residential structure, which incurs, I think, about 4.5 feet over the 50-foot setback. And then there's a concrete pool deck, which is approximately somewhere in the 4 to 10 foot range over the rear setback, as well as a a stone or a concrete patio. We're somewhat at a disadvantage here because our firm didn't represent Mr. Rosa when he acquired the property. And I believe you're probably going to see a series of these type of issues come up. It looks like the surveys that are being issued in today's world are showing the setback lines. And I know from my experience, 30 years ago and so on, surveys weren't showing those lines. So these issues really weren't apparent to prospective purchasers of these properties. So the issue came up when the Rosa Family Limited Partnership entered into a purchase and sale agreement with a prospective buyer. And when the survey was issued and the title work was done, the prospective mortgagee wouldn't approve the mortgage financing unless these issues were put to rest. So the first thing we did was contact Mr. Morehouse with the town to see if we could generate some evidence of the history. And going back, this house was built in the early 1960s. It was part of a subdivision called Garden Hill Subdivision. It was a Nicoletti subdivision. And the town's records were, according to Mr. Morehouse, difficult to access and somewhat incomplete. But this is 50 years ago. So he indicated that a building permit was issued, but there was no record of a C of O being issued. We logically can assume that title couldn't have been conveyed from the builder unless a C of O was issued. And trying to piece back that portion of the history, we believe that the structure probably exceeded the 50-foot setback at that point in time. The pool, we can only, once again, trying to put together the chronology, there was a building permit issued for the pool in the early 1980s. And we can only assume that the patio and the concrete decking that surrounded the pool was installed at that point in time as well. Once again, no indication that a variance was sought or a C of O was issued. And that brings us up to today.
Okay, maybe I have some questions for you.
Sure.
You own the house? I'm talking to your client.
No, a family limited partnership is the owner of the house.
Oh, okay, so
She occupied it.
she occupies it, right, as a renter?
Do you rent from the?
My
from
dad
the-
holds the mortgage. Or my
Okay.
dad.
Well,
Yeah.
again, I guess my question would be, when did you or your dad or whoever purchase this house?
I've
Or
been
did you
there.
have it built?
I've been there 10 years.
Okay, you've been there 10 years, so do you believe 10 years ago that he purchased the house?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was at that time no problems with all of this stuff? I mean, he just, that you're aware of?
Once again, we didn't represent him in this particular transaction, but my understanding is that it was a cash transaction, so
Okay,
these
so no
issues-
banks involved, no
Nope.
mortgages?
no.
Luckily, no lawyers? Well, sometimes, Dan, it's just, all right, let's go over this. I guess there's 7 different variances that you need. Were you aware of that?
No.
Okay, the house will need a 4.5-foot variance from Shoecraft Road and a 9.1-foot variance from the south property line. The concrete patio around the pool will need a 7-foot variance from the south property line and a 5-foot variance from the west property line.
Okay.
The larger patio off the rear of the house will need a 26.5-foot variance from the south property line, and the smaller patio off the rear of the house will need a 16-foot variance from the south property line, and a 5-foot variance from Shoecraft Road. I know, very complicated, right?
Okay.
But we're gonna kind of lump them all together because it has to do with the house, patio, and pool.
Correct.
Okay, to simplify things. So, do you know if your dad purchased this house?
Yes.
He purchased it. Did he build it at all?
No, sir.
Did he have the pool installed?
No, sir.
Did he have the decks in the backyard installed?
No, sir.
And he didn't, this was all there when he purchased the house?
Yes.
Okay. So what kind of fence do you have around the patios and the pool deck?
Okay, I have a privacy fence going across the side lawn.
It's a stockade fence. No one can see through it.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, okay, which is a wooden fence, which is approximately 5 foot, 6 foot?
Six
About
foot.
6 foot.
Okay.
You said the side. Can you make reference to south or west? Because.
She's smiling.
It's the,
And I think Bill has the map.
Yeah, I have a copy of the survey map.
If you look
So-
sort of up
It's
in
the
the upper
east.
right corner, it shows you the north arrow.
Yeah, well, the southern, you're toward the rear,
So
this is where the
property line-
fence is, here.
yeah. Stockade on the, actually surrounds the whole pool area.
But there was a picket fence around the pool that I had taken out.
Okay, and you
Okay.
put a solid fence,
I'm sorry?
a solid fence, you put that,
No, the solid fence was across the side lawn,
okay,
okay? There was a white picket fence also around the pool area, the concrete,
okay,
that I had taken down
okay.
because of where.
But currently, you have a wooden fence that surrounds the patio in the back of your house, okay?
Looks like it goes
And
over
the
the
front,
fence.
which is towards, not Shoecraft, but what's the other road?
Garden
Start
Hill
hill.
Lane.
Right, okay, towards that road, right?
Right.
And then runs back on the side. So that's mostly wooden and you can't see through it, correct?
Correct.
All right, is there part of the fence that is not wooden?
No, I just
No,
have
that it's
that.
wooden all the way around?
It's
I
all
thought there
wood.
was like a little wire fence part of it
The
towards your
wire
neighbor's
fence-
backyard.
The wire fence is not my fence. I have my neighbor to the back
Yep,
side of the pool
yep,
fenced, he's fenced. And then my neighbor to the rear of me is also fenced.
okay, but you didn't install that fence?
No,
So your wooden fence does not completely enclose the pool?
correct.
Okay, so it leaves a little bit of the pool showing,
From,
the neighbor's yard. See, we're looking
Not
at
in the
everything
rear.
as visual.
no,
No?
from my neighbor behind me.
Yes, his
She can
backyard,
see the pool.
right, through that
Okay.
Yes,
part of that fence, right?
Correct.
Can she see the decks at all?
yes,
Okay, what part of the deck can she see? Can she see the two decks?
The whole-
that were built in the back of your
the whole
house?
backyard.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, and your house backs to her house. What part of her house is in back of your house? Is it the side of her house?
Yes.
The garage?
Yes,
Okay, so it's not the side of her house, it's the garage on the side of her house.
yes.
Well, it really is,
Her
it
house
makes
would
a
go this
difference
way, right?
because we're talking about
Yeah, her house
visibility.
is- Yeah, her house is facing Shoecraft, whereas
Okay.
mine is facing Garden Hill.
And her garage is to the right of her house,
Yes.
which backs to your property.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Okay, so in other words, she can't sit in her house and look at through her garage at your pool deck, or at your deck, correct?
Correct.
She has to go out of her house to go look at it.
Yes.
Okay. Have you had any complaints for your neighbors about any part of the pool deck, or anything that you have back there?
No, sir.
Okay. How costly do you think it would be to dig up either the patios in the back of the house or the patio or the decking around the pool?
Very costly.
Okay. All right, that's all I got. Go ahead.
Anyone else from the board? No? No? Anyone in the audience care to speak about this application? Come on up.
Sure.
My name is Arnold DiPietro. I live at number 2 Christine Circle. I'm right behind Danny Lee's house. Actually, the side of her house. I have the chain link fence. I was somewhat surprised when I received this card, because I don't think she's done anything to that house in regards to the patio. I mean, she put in a wooden fence, but other than that, the other things that you guys talked about, what was it, 6 variances she's looking for?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when they put in that pool, I had an issue. They literally changed the topography of the backyard. If you look at her property and my property, there's perhaps a 1.5 to 2 foot difference in drop off before it hits the chain link fence. Had an issue with that. When they were putting in the pool, they were hitting pipes and I talked to someone at that time, of course, it's been quite a few years, and they said, gee, we wish we would have known that before they finished putting in that pool. But she had next to her garage, if one of those variances is off of Shoecraft Road, I believe they had, what was it, a pole barn there? The previous owner actually extended the garage. He put an addition. Is that correct, to the left of your, if I face your garage?
Yep, I have a 2.5-car garage.
Right? So, whatever was done there wasn't done by her, it was done by the previous owner. And I was, like I said, not being knowledgeable as to what the process is when you purchase a house, saying, how come they're questioning Danny Lee at this point? What happened to Jerry McCarthy, the fellow that had the house before? You know? But to be honest with you, when I had that chain link fence put in, I've got my fence is actually 1 foot into my property, all right? And I will tell you this, these may not be connected, but as soon as that pool was in, I have a dry wet well down in the basement. I've been there now, lived there since 1965. Never had any water in that wet well. It was dry as a bone for years. Soon as they put in that pool, they being the previous owners, I've got water in that well and had other problems as well. Like I said, the topography's been changed. The pool went in. That's all I wanted to do is share with you. My concern is the topography relative to the height of that yard to my yard. The pitch has been changed. They used to have, if you look at Garden Hill Lane, for those who've been down there, it's an incline off of Shoecraft, goes down. That part of the yard does not go down. It goes straight out. Here's my chain link fence like this. How can I draw it? Well, you can't see it anyway, but make a long story longer, it's 2 feet. Okay?
It's a straight drop off is what you're saying.
Straight drop off, and it's very, and in fairness, she's trying to put like stones around there to pretty the place up, and the stones will come into my yard because they're, over time, they just continue to erode. That's about it. But how many feet did you say from would be from the west, which would be from my fence line?
Okay, let's see, the pool needs a 5-foot variance from the west property line. That's you, correct?
That's me.
Okay, in other words, the problem is, the pool is okay. All right, the pool itself.
It's the
If
deck.
they had just put the pool, that's right, it's just the pool. If they put the pool in, they wouldn't have, no problem. But it's the deck around the pool. Okay, that's the problem. They needed a variance for that and they didn't get it. So I guess my question to you would be, is are you opposed to them having the deck around the pool and would wish them to dig up the deck around the pool? Or wouldn't that affect your situation at all?
I'm opposed to having it, the property, the yard itself, 2 feet above my, 2 feet above my yard. All right? In terms of the deck itself, what happens to the yews, the evergreens that she has up against the fence? Do they have to be dug up as well, or?
It's bushes, right? That's bushes.
Yeah, they're just bushes.
Yeah.
You can leave
Well,
those alone.
we just enforce the law here or grant variances from the law. In other words, we're trying to make, like if you as a neighbor and she wanted to put a patio in her backyard, which went right to your fence line, and you went, hey, wait a minute, so that's why they need a permit to do it, so every side can be heard. And that's why I was asking you, I know you have a problem with the topography of the yard. It's higher than yours.
Whoa.
But we're not here to really
I know you're not.
talk about the topography. We're here to talk about the deck around the pool and the 2 decks in her backyard. And do any of those bother you, or would you rather have them dug up, or you just, I'm asking you a question.
I'd rather have them dug up.
Okay.
Right? I'd rather have McCarthy dig them up than her. I'll be fair with you.
Can't find McCarthy. Okay, thank you. sir.
Okay?
Yep, thank you.
Anyone else in the audience care to speak about this application? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Application number 4, Richard Altier, Penfield Mosley Retail LLC, 65 Mitchell Road, Pittsford, New York, 14534. Requests a conditional use permit under Article 3-3-77 and Article 10-10-4, an area variance from Article 3-3-78-C, and a special permit for outside storage and display under Article 4-4-24 of the code to allow a gasoline service station convenience store, an existing shed with less setback, and outside retail display at 2175 Penfield Road. The property is owned by 2175 Penfield Road LLC and is Zone GB. This is SBL number 139.02-1-4. This is application number 14Z-0004.
Hi, I'm Richard Altier, 65 Mitchell Road. I am the 100% owner of Penfield Mosley Retail LLC. I have an asset purchase agreement with the current operator of the mobile gas station at 2175 Penfield Road. And I've applied for 3 different variances to speak of. I don't know if you want to do one at a time.
Well, let me try to, you've given us a very full and complete application here, so let me just ask you this. Have you reviewed all the prior conditions put on the conditional use permit by this board for the seller?
Yes,
And you're willing to abide by all of those?
absolutely, yeah.
And also the same question for regarding the outside storage?
Yes,
And again, you're willing to abide by those?
yes.
Okay. So why don't you spend most of your time then focusing on the shed? Because my understanding is the shed was going to be a temporary structure during the remediation.
Yeah.
Now you would like to make it permanent.
Yes, it's my understanding that the remediation, when it's complete, which it's complete, and the remediation company is removing the articles inside, that they are to turn over the ownership of the shed to the current owner of the property for $1. And we are applying to keep it in its position to use for storage.
Okay? And tell us a little bit about why you think we should grant you that variance.
Well, the convenience store is very small, and we need extra storage to house, soda and antifreeze, the windshield washer, things like that, and then various other items that go in and out of the store with frequency, and we just don't have the room in it. And it's already built and it's there, and they're going to give it to us for $1 or sell it to us for $1. So we feel it's very useful if we can keep it.
Have you had any issues with traffic getting around it, or pedestrian or driving traffic or anything?
No, it's back in the far corner of the property
Okay,
next
so
to
cars don't even get near it?
No, we can't get near it. It's protected by curb.
All right, and if we were to deny the variance and the shed would have to be removed, then what would you be forced to do?
I think the only problem is that it has a cement floor, so once the sides come down, there's cement sitting there. It would cost some money to remove it, obviously.
Okay, and do you have any ability to store the stuff anywhere else?
No. I mean, it's overflowing as it is.
And your proposed use, why don't you just, I know it's the same as current, why don't you just describe it briefly what it's going to be?
Exactly
on
the same
property?
use, same time of opening, same everything, other than John's going to give me his blue shirt, and I'm going to wear it, and everything else is the same.
Same size?
Same size, same people. His son's going to run it. Everything's the same.
Okay, and what about the, same thing with the outside storage then? What's stored outside now?
Just again, the
Antifreeze,
windshield washer,
blue stuff,
pumpkins
whatever color it is.
sometimes, stuff like that, yeah.
Okay.
Just in front of the store.
All right, any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead.
Are you currently storing merchandise in the shed?
No, the remediation company still has some of their items in there. They haven't fully taken it out yet, and therefore they haven't changed the ownership over or applied to tell the town to change it over.
So you are working now without using that for storage?
Yes.
It just would be more...
It's just more advantageous
easier?
to keep it, yeah. And because they're going to give it to us for $1, we save the expense of building it.
Anyone in the audience care to speak about this application? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Application number 7. Chris Santola, Costage Engineering, 217 Lake Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14608. On behalf of Qdoba Mexican Grill Restaurant, requests an area variance from Article 3-3-78-B and Article 3-3-78-C of the Code to allow the construction of an addition and patio with less setback and lot coverage exceeding 65% at 1867 Empire Boulevard. The property is owned by Edward R. Kellett Jr. and Penfield Kellett LLC and is Zone GB. This is SBL number 093.11-1-35. This is application number 14Z-0007.
Yeah, we'll split.
Oh, this is why you're short one. Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you for your patience. Once again, my name is Chris Santola. I'm with Costage Engineering. I'm a landscape architect. And we're here tonight asking for a variance for the existing site on the corner of Bay and Empire Boulevard. The site is currently vacant. It was a gas station. It has been vacant for a number of years. And what our client would like to do is put an addition on the existing building, mostly for kitchen use, and turn it into a Qdoba Mexican grill with all applicable parking and following any other regulations that the town might have. In creating the restaurant, we are asking for the minimal variances necessary, which in this case, because it is a tight site, a side setback along Bay Road and a lot coverage setback, most of which was already over the 65% allowed by code. In talking with Mr. Morehouse today, I explained to him, which is why I handed out new plans, if it's at the discretion of the board, the architects have advanced the plans a little further along, and during that process, they discovered if they could have 8 more inches along the back of the building toward Bay Road, it would make the building a lot better for them as an operational standpoint. That's an additional 18, just a little over 18 and a half square feet. But more importantly, it pushes our setback from Bay Road from 11.6 feet to 11.2 feet. And talking with Mr. Morehouse today, he felt that perhaps that, once again, at your discretion, that you could hear that, you know, with the additional square footage, without it being detrimental to the advertisement of the issue or anything else. If the board decides that you don't want to hear it, we can work with the original size
Go
building.
right ahead.
Okay.
We've already decided to hear it.
Okay, well, thank you.
No, and we appreciate your courtesy.
And
Yeah,
the
it's
addition,
a
in
couple of
addition
inches.
to the setback, the 19 square feet also pushes the coverage from, I think it's 73.67 to 73.72%. So with that in mind, like I said, the variance we're asking are the minimum necessary to create the footprint for Qdoba's grill and the absolute minimum necessary for coverage, you know, versus what's existing there now. It's a little higher because we are putting on the addition where there was green space. I entertain any questions? the
Yeah,
board has.
okay, and how about the patio on the side? You don't need any variance?
Yeah, we're asking, it's 6 and a
Okay,
half
yeah, I
feet
was
away
gonna-
from.
that's what I was waiting
Right,
for.
okay. That hasn't changed, I'm sorry. That, the variance for the patio remains at 6.5.
Okay.
From there, which is a little closer than the existing building right now, but the plan is to landscape it, and there'll also be a railing. It's going to be not only decorative, but there's going to be, I think it's 6-inch bollards that'll be connected with a decorative steel or metal railing, so it's going to look decorative, but it's also going to protect any patron that's on the patio from any car that, for some odd reason,
Go off, baby.
goes up either from the parking lot or from Bay Road to protect the patrons as well.
So you're at, that's why I kind of waited, because you're asking for kind of like 3 variances.
Correct.
I'll take the patio. You answered one of my questions, there'll be a fence around it, okay? Will there be an entrance and an exit fence off of there? In other words, in the gate itself?
The entry for it will be here. So there's also, I believe, a door that's going to be accessing it as well. So it's not going to be, it's going to be an area that you can access from the parking lot and from the store, so you're not trapped within the.
Yes, fire-wise, that's why I
Correct.
was asking the question, okay. So are you going to use that how are you going to use that? I shouldn't tell you what you're going to use it for.
I would expect it to be another option for patrons dining within, at the restaurant. For the few days of beautiful weather we have, they may want to eat outside.
Yeah, I think 3 this year, but,
And part of that, like I said, it will also be screened with vegetation that we've already went through the planning board and had their landscape consultant comment on that, and we've addressed their comments for that as
so
well.
again, you just gave us these plans, and that's why I'm asking these
No.
questions. So it will have a roof on it?
No, just a.
Okay, no roof then, but it will have lights on it?
The light, it will be from the lighting plan from the site itself. There's no additional light specifically for
On the
patio.
outside of the building that would shine down on the thing?
Not,
or-
not that I'm aware of right now, and the lighting plan that is enclosed in the set illustrates that as well.
Okay. All right, let's go to the addition. You
Before you
added.
get past that
I
light,
apologize.
there will be a requirement for lighting over that doorway.
Yeah,
okay,
That's required by the building
right,
code,
but
so that's
I
going to
meant-
provide some degree of
Okay,
illumination
if that's
to
what
the-
you said,
to the
I
area.
apologize, I thought you were referring to site lighting. There's going to be no
Right.
additional site lighting for that patio area other than
Right.
what's planned for the site. Any safety or building code
That's a
related,
building code requirement.
any building code requirement will be met.
Okay, that's my question, is you make sure that, there's other building codes that apply out there. So make
Correct.
sure that, and I think you are working with the planning board, so. How about the addition in the back, the extra 8 inches? I don't see a huge problem. And now you want an 11.2 foot variance from Bay Road, right? From the
Correct.
corner of the building back there?
Correct.
All right. Actually, to bring this in perspective,
Joe, excuse me,
Yes.
it's not a 11.2 variance.
It's,
It's 11.2 from the,
thank you, I apologize. What would be the variance then? Because it's 50 foot back, right?
yes, it'd be like 30.
40.
No, it's an 80-foot setback
80 foot.
requirement off of Bay Road,
Okay,
so it would be.
It's a very large.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a very large
substantial
variance.
if the lot were
Okay.
developed as a clean lot, you wouldn't be able to put anything on it based
Yeah.
on the 280-foot setbacks from both Bay and Empire. And, we're aware of that, and we tried to make the variances as minimal as possible, because the existing building, we're behind where the existing building juts out to the
You
setback.
mind if I jump in?
No, you go right
One of
ahead.
the things I wanted
You
to
go right
point
ahead.
out was that we had I don't know how long ago we had the application on Royal Dynasty when they moved. But also kind of a uniquely shaped lot. And we worked with them, and their building is a little bit different shape as well, but it's been going really well. So we understand what you're facing here with the shape of that lot. I'm sorry, Joe.
That's okay, no problem, Danny, thank you. Okay, I will still work with. Okay, let me put it a different way. 11.2 feet, the corner of the building will be from Bay Road.
It would be from the right-of-way, yes.
That's right. And actually, your other one over here is what, about 6 inches, or, the other corner of your building is a lot closer to
about
Bay
six-
Road than your
6.8 feet.
addition is.
Correct.
So already your building is in violation in a sense of the 80-foot setback.
Oh, it's existing non-conforming on at
Yeah.
least 2 or 3
Yeah.
zoning
And
requirements.
we've given variances before
For
when
that,
this
for that.
bill built out.
Yeah,
right?
that was given a variance back
Right.
in.
That's just the point that I'm bringing out to the board and to the audience, is that you're not asking for something closer. You're asking something farther back than what your corner of your building, the other part of the building actually is.
For the building, yes. For the patio, we're a little closer, but I don't want to deceive anyone with that.
No,
But
but
building-wise,
thank you.
we are
It's-
farther back.
You're right, I appreciate it. And then we'll just go to the lot coverage. You are still gonna add some bushes in the back and different kind of foliage around the property to make it unique. You just can't get the percentage that you need. I mean, in order to have a parking lot, a building, and the facilities there, am I correct?
Well, to add, our client is purchasing the area of the access road behind here, so they will own their access, and there'll be a irrevocable ingress-egress agreement with the neighbors so they can use it, but QDOBA felt it was important that they own their means of access rather than just depend on someone else to grant them an easement.
Okay,
So if anything, by essentially picking up that parcel, believe it or not, we almost
Yep.
ruined it, not ruined, but we made it worse for ourselves because the vast majority of that piece is already asphalt.
It's a driveway.
Right.
You bought a driveway and it messed up your percentage on your lot, correct?
Well, it's existing at 70 and it went up to 73.7, so
Right.
it did a little, but they felt owning the access was more important to them than asking for a 70% coverage versus a 74% coverage.
Okay, Danny, that's all I have.
Anybody else have any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have one on the patio. Weather permitting, are people going to be served dinner out there, or is this just for them walking out with a
They're just
drink
walking
or
out, this is
something?
not a serve, you go up to the counter and you order stuff and you can either take it out or sit either inside the building or if you allow the patio to be built the
But
way it
they
is
would have to
out
come
there.
in to get the food?
You'd have to come in and get the food, correct.
Okay. Then the other question I have is on your name. What does that mean, and why did you come up with it?
Qdoba, they're a chain actually based out of Colorado.
Are they? Okay, thank you.
I just like, first of all, I'd like to say I live nearby, and I'm thrilled that something is happening with this site. It's, I drive by it 5 times a day, and I'm glad, so I appreciate that. But, and I know that ingress and egress onto the lot is really more of a planning board issue in this case, and you're in front of the planning board, but can you just briefly touch, other than the drive that you bought, how are people gonna get in with their cars, in and out of the lot?
Certainly. There's an existing curb cut that was used by the mobile station that we will continue to use, both full access, both in and out, right and left turns. There's a left turn lane here, although it's short, it does exist currently. So it'll be this way and this way as well. You know, I mean, they can access through Empire or through Bay. So it does give them more option.
You're gonna be able to turn left onto Bay, exiting?
Yes.
Okay. All right, great. And then the last thing I'd point out is that the planning board did give us a memo recommending that we approve these variances.
And I'm not sure if it's important to you, but there is access into the main body of the plaza.
Yeah, that
Wegmans
is
owns,
important.
Because
And
that
that's all,
takes
that's
you
true
out
all the
to
way
two-
down to the
Correct. Well,
the
that's what I'm
Brugers.
saying for the cross-access, but specifically regarding the sites, access points, those
Site
are two.
direct.
There's also, obviously, there's another one for Wegmans down Bay Road, or 2 for Wegmans down Bay Road, and another 2 for Wegmans down there, and you probably cut through Brugger's as well.
Yep. Okay, well, thank you very much. Anyone in the audience care to
Thank
speak
you.
about this application? Okay, come on up. I'm sorry.
Gently rolls toward.
If I have to,
Sure, give your name again.
Unless it
Different
changed
application.
or something, I think, go ahead.
Arnold DiPietro. The question I have is, based on, Dan hit on it, you say you go by there 5 times a day?
No exaggeration.
When that was a mobile station, it didn't get very much business because of the high price of mobile fuel. My sense is, however, that this restaurant is going to be a popular place. And I was concerned about, or am concerned about the traffic in that area. You know, when you asked this gentleman here, if you could make a left-hand turn onto Bay Road, I could just visualize, you know, I'm coming up from Creek Street, crossing over into Bay Road. There's an enormous amount of traffic there, and I think you're going to have to really control the egress and exit routes for this restaurant.
The turning lane that they put in there on Bay is, if people use it properly, which they,
You talking this one?
right on Bay, the turning lane in the middle of the road. You know, and that works well. That's done a lot. You know, when you exit Wegmans, not at the traffic light, but on the Bay, I guess it's easterly, whatever direction that would be. You still have to be careful. You got to wait sometimes turning left on there. You just be careful. I haven't, but I'm assuming you have more meetings with the planning board?
We are going before them Thursday night.
There you go. If you want to come and address that issue with the planning board, it'll be right in this very room, and,
I'll get right on that.
yeah. And we'll tell them. These guys will tell them to watch this video, so they'll see your comments on video, or whatever it is, a disc nowadays, I
Thank
suppose
you.
it is. You're welcome. Anyone else in the audience? Okay, thank you very much, and go back to number 1.
Yes, he is here.
Great.
Yes, thank you. Application number 1, Eric Rosenstratton, lean body, 1695 Clover Street, Rochester, New York, 14618. Requests a conditional use permit under Article 3-3-72-B and Article 10-10-4 of the code to allow a takeout restaurant at 2505 Bancroft Boulevard. The property is owned by Calvary Chapel of Rochester Incorporated and is zoned LB. This is SBL number 123.07-2-47.1. This is application number 14Z-0001.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I'd like to start off by apologizing. There's a little bit of misconfusion on when I was supposed to be here, or being here in general for that matter. But nonetheless, if you don't mind me talking this close to the mic, what we do, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with our company. It's not quite a restaurant, but what we do is, so to speak, what we do is create meal plans for people to lose weight in order to be healthier. As you know, this country, this area, everywhere, it seems, has an issue with weight gain. 33% of Americans are obese. So we currently operate out of a kitchen in downtown Rochester. All it is a commercial kitchen. We have no actual retail space. What we were hoping to do is not necessarily get a restaurant put in here, but have the option for food service / a commercial kitchen that would operate on that far portion of the plaza that already exists. We know that there was a restaurant in there previous to us, a little bit smaller in scale, more of a traditional family. I believe it was an ethnic restaurant as well. All we are looking to do is be able to kind of reintroduce that kitchen to the far side and have a retail space in front of that for us to pedal out our boxes every Sunday. Now, I assume you guys have some questions for me, or what have you.
Yes. How long has Project Lean Body been in existence?
14 months.
I think you'll have to stand a little closer to the mic.
I just got to be able to pick you up.
This
There's a
is
portable
recorded.
there
14 months.
somewhere.
I have a fear of microphones, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been around for 14 months. We actually started, Tim Doherty is our primary owner. He started this literally out of his kitchen in Brighton, New York. He's a certified trainer. He's a nutritionist. He saw a need that, while exercise can do wonders for us, nutrition is what changes our weight. And we created a system that allows it so we can just plug and play and get everyone's diet correct so that they don't have to do the guesswork. Because that's the toughest part, is understanding what you're supposed to be taking in as opposed to what you're putting out. So that's our real basis of our business. We have to give you an idea of what our client base is, we have a list of about 300 clients that we service currently. 100 of them are everyday, weekly clients. They're the ones who are eating our food 5 times a day. As far as how we operate, we actually only have one real day that we're in operation. We cook throughout the entire rest of the week in order to get our food prepared, but it's really one day that we're delivering. Currently, 70% of our business is actually delivery, so the actual footprint that we're going to be using is substantially less than that 300 client base. Cut that down with the addition of the fact that we only have about 100 full-time every week clients. You're looking at probably about 30 people that are going to be showing up there on Sundays. We don't really have a retail space now, so there's not a huge demand for people to come in and take a look at our product. We have a very good rapport with people and getting things done over the phone, so there's not going to be a ton of people in and out for the most part.
Well, that's good. Sunday is actually probably the busiest day for that plaza.
Yes.
Between the family
Yeah.
restaurant and the church.
Yes, and one thing that we actually kind of like is that if you do your diet right, you should have one cheat day, and we always plan for it on Sunday. So we're trying to work with the family diner that's already there to kind of maybe send some of our people that way, just because we want to be a part of that area. We really, really like Pastor Jeff, and he's done a great job with communicating with us as far as where he sees us, what he can do for us. So it seems like a good partnership that we can forge there. So that's neither here nor there for you guys, but nonetheless, we're looking forward to it.
Are you associated in any way with the Calvary Chapel?
No. They're obviously the owner of that property. Will just be renting from them.
Okay, and you say you're operating from downtown now?
Yeah.
Will that remain, or will you be closing that?
We're currently renting from a space downtown. We will be closing that facility, so to speak. We'll just be terminating our lease and transferring it here if all goes accordingly.
And in the future, all of your food will be made right there on the premises?
In the future, if we get large enough, obviously we don't want to overload that space. If there's enough clientele on the west side of the city that we could go and potentially open over there, we would love to. But at the moment, that's where the basis of our business is. We have a lot of people on the east side, specifically the southeast quadrant of the city, that have been diehard Project Lean Body members since day one. So this is an access point which, you know, gives us a little bit more of a suburban atmosphere. Like I said, we are in the exact heart of the city. We're on 35 South Washington, which is literally in the center of downtown. So A, it's confusing to get there. B, it's not necessarily our ideal clientele. And it'd be nice to be closer to them and give them something where they can come and interact with us and get more of a lesson in eating properly. Because that's what while we are a food service company, it wouldn't mean anything if we're not teaching people along the way. So that's really our big focus. And having a spot where we can sit down and talk to people and say, hey, this is why you're doing what you're doing, or this is why this isn't working for you, is humongous for us. So that's why we're looking forward to having a kitchen and a little bit of a retail space so we can sit and talk with people.
Okay, now your members, I presume you advertise for them? And is this a contract kind of a thing, or can they just come and go, or how
They
does it
can
work?
come and go. Most people, the normal shelf life of a client for us is about 6 weeks, but we have, like I said, we have 100 people that have buying from us for more than 6 months. So there are a lot of people that try it and say, you know, maybe this diet thing isn't for me. I'm not ready mentally to be able to take this on. And that's a tough part. That's a tough part about dieting, is you really have to sell yourself more than you are anything else. Currently, the bulk of our business has been referral based. We don't have any major advertisements out in any magazines or anything like that. We go out, we meet people from time to time, but for the most part, the bulk of our business has just been, hey, you guys hear about Project Lean Body? And that saves us money, and also, you know, it's been good to us so far, so.
Will you have people walking in too? I mean, if I walk by and want to come in, could I just come in?
Yeah,
or do you have to be a member?
I'll actually be there all the time. I don't have an office at the moment because we run out of a commercial kitchen and there's no other space. So if you wanted to come in and talk to me, yeah, I'll be there. Is that an option for people? It definitely is, but we don't really expect there to be a lot of personal foot traffic, especially because the bulk of our business is either via phone or online.
Okay, do you have any kind of an exercise program with this, or strictly food?
Yes, we do. That's not taken care of on site, obviously. Tim Doherty, our owner, actually is opening up his own Project Lean Body studio, which will be in the village of Pittsford. Well, not the village, it'll be on Monroe Ave, the 3300 block. That's where we'll have a fitness facility, also kind of central location for a lot of that kind of client base, but we have no plans as far as making a gym anywhere near that spot.
Okay, and now you're taking over about 1,000 square feet, is that right?
Pretty much exactly.
From the end cap all the way down to where the new barber shop is coming?
Oh, no, we aren't that far, unless I'm a little bit confused on where the barber shop is. There's technically 3 spaces within there that are about 1,000 square feet each. We're gonna be taking that far end cap. There sits one that's kind of right in front of that, and then I believe they're moving into the one to the left of that, if you're looking at it from the front.
Now, what about your ventilation system?
There isn't anything in place at the moment, so we're
But
going.
there will be, I
Yes.
presume.
We're gonna need to be installing a hood, full Ansel system, all that kind of stuff. They actually already have the hole open from the last restaurant that was just patched. So the great news is that all we have to do is reopen that, but we will be installing all of the traditional stuff that you expect. Currently, the plans that you guys have in front of you, I believe, is a 12-foot hood. We'll be doing all the cooking underneath that. The kitchen itself isn't really a massive space, but we're used to working in a lot less, so it'll be nice to have a little bit more space than what we're accustomed to.
Okay, since there are residential neighbors right across the street.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the noise from the ventilation system.
Yeah, we are going to be operating a fan that's literally the exact same size as the restaurant that's already there. So the noise is not really going to be anything new. I think the bigger concern actually, not to take your focus away from that, would be the noxious odors. And
I was
that's
just gonna ask you
yeah,
about
and that's
that.
really a big thing that we have to work on now at our current place, because we're right around the corner from all the major municipal buildings that are right there downtown. The biggest focus on that is making sure that we're taking out our garbage and that our landlord has a proper setup for that, which is making sure that your garbage cans can be locked, that they can be sealed, not necessarily those open air ones where you can just kind of toss things in and hope for the best. At least from what we've gathered from talking to them, now knowing that they have a lot more to take on as far as waste product from now what will be technically a second commercial kitchen, we are hoping that they also step up their responsibility by getting us a larger dumpster, something that can be sealed and locked rather than one of those sliding mechanisms where you just throw all your food in.
And I take it there'll be a firewall and a sprinkler system?
Yes, there's already a sprinkler system in place, sorry. There's already a sprinkler system in place within that facility. Now, there's not a firewall, but we are building a firewall. If you look at the plans, the right image, there's a firewall all the way up against the left-hand side of that image. That's what's really going to be the true divider between our property and the property next to us. So we will be a self-contained unit once that firewall's in place. Obviously, we just haven't done any building knowing that, we aren't really sure that we're going to pass this, fingers crossed. But yeah, so it will be a self-contained unit with a firewall on that far left side.
And you will check with the fire inspector before you
Oh,
actually
yeah.
open, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
How many employees will you have here?
Currently, we have 3 people that work in the kitchen on a daily basis. We will probably have 1 or 2 additional people there throughout the day. So I would say probably a max of about 5 employees during that time period. If we grow, normally how we've structured our growth in the past is we normally just add somebody new onto the kitchen. So I think at max, in order to kind of operate safely and effectively within that facility, we probably wouldn't have more than 7 total employees there. Like I said, we're not huge by any means. We're just really efficient in what we do. So we're used to pumping out about 2,000 pounds worth of meat products every single week. So
And what about deliveries? When will the food be delivered and how will
generally,
it be
we deliver
delivered?
on Sunday and we have a little bit of trail over on Monday. Our delivery routes start at about typically between 11 and 12, depending on the size of deliveries, how many we have to load within our truck. So our goal is to keep that kind of 11 o'clock time period. I know that based on the mass schedules, that's about when that final mass is going to be, it's a service. The final service will be getting done. My girlfriend picks me apart for that all the time. So the final service will probably be getting out around that time. Obviously, since it is delivery, it's really 1 van at the moment. We may be moving to 2 once we get a big enough client base, but at the moment we load up that 1 van, take it out, and then that's pretty much my job for about 9 or 10 hours in a day. So.
And what will you be selling besides the frozen meals?
We do have a little bit of call at the moment for some branded gear, some merchandise for our company. A lot of people really like our brand and its image. So we will probably be selling, shirts, hats, shaker bottles, stuff like that. There had been some talk about possibly doing like a smoothie bar, but at the moment we don't really feel that there's a need for that from us. I think the bulk of our business, people understand that, we create meal packages. So outside of the meals themselves that are flash frozen and then pressed out on our end, and the gear, that's probably going to be about it.
Okay, now let's discuss your signage.
Okay.
You're going to have, I take it you'll have a sign probably where the other one was?
Yes.
Same size?
Yes, we were hoping, which is kind of, we don't really know how this is going to work. We were hoping to have a similar setup on the Creek Street side. If you notice, that one faces the Browncroft intersection, but there's nothing for people coming up Creek Street. We were hoping that utilizing the exact same size and shape of what we have in front of our building now, we could put something on that end cap, that far right-hand side of the building.
You by any chance have any, a rendering of it or anything we could see the colors?
The colors would be the exact same as the sign setup that's currently in there. They kind of they kind of kindly told us that they would like to see the exact same structure, the same colors, the same setup. So it would be a light box, blue outside, which matches the facade of the building, and then the letters themselves would probably be white, where the light would shine out, similar, just it's a lit box setup, which is what they use now. So no, I can definitely get those renderings for you, no problem with that, just so you have a better understanding of what exactly is there. I actually do graphic design, so you'll probably be getting it straight from my computer. But nonetheless, yeah, we can definitely make that happen, so you can see what it would look like on that far right-hand side of the building.
And you would not be having any freestanding sign, right?
No, no. We have talked with the actual landlord as far as getting that sign that's out there updated. They have a standing sign with everybody's logo and what have you on it, which is kind of looking a little bit outdated. So that might be something in the future that we all together bring toward the table. But at the moment, there's not really enough traction within that plaza for everyone to pitch in to get that sign updated. So at the moment, it's going to be everything that's attached or already existing at the structure.
Okay, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Okay.
Would I be able to walk in and walk out with food?
I already
Or-
asked that.
Excuse me, but I didn't hear it. Do you have to order in advance and then
Yes.
either have it picked up or delivered?
Yes, because we cook your entire week's food in advance. It's not something that we can just offer right away. It's calibrated to you, your age, your weight, your height, your BMI. So that's not something that we can just instantaneously have ready. So we do ask people to order and have their orders in on Monday, so then we can deliver on Sunday for them for the
Mike,
following
I
week.
thought that was a different question than the one.
Yeah, well, you know, some of the cooking, you know, just,
Going for leads back.
thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, I think.
How late would your food service be actually prepping the food into the evening?
At the moment, our guys go home at 6:30. I don't see us possibly staying anywhere, even when we're at our maximum capacity, past 8 o'clock. Our guys, you know, they follow a very similar lifestyle to what we expect of them. They go to the gym from 8 to 9:30. They show up at work right after the gym and they cook. Fitness focus is what we do, even down to our kitchen staff. So everybody kind of follows the same protocol. So I think that the latest we'd probably be cooking is 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll see you at the gym sometime. What do you think, Mike? What are the chances?
Like I said, we do training, so if you want to hop on board, we'd be happy to.
Some people on this board that probably could use your
I already
services.
broke my resolution, right, yeah. All right, very
That was at
good.
12:30.
Anybody in the audience care to speak about this? No? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That is the last hearing,
the
so we'll
conclusion,
stand
yes.
adjourned for a few moments and then reconvene in the back of the room. Thank you all very much.